session for our superintendent evaluation. So thank you for your patience. All right, could we have a roll call, Mr. Walker?
Mr. Rich.
I am here.
Ms. Fox.
Here.
Ms. Weems.
Here.
Ms. Heinrich.
Here.
I myself am here, and Dr. Blau.
I am also here.
We have a quorum.
Fantastic. All righty. Mr. Rich, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Rich. Go ahead, Ms. Heinrich.
I move that the Board of Education agenda for the regular meeting Tuesday, December 13th, be approved as presented.
Second. Motion by Ms. Heinrich, seconded by Ms. Weems. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passed. All right, wonderful. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our December meeting. Given the holidays, this will be our only meeting this month. I just would like to remind my colleagues and our guests that we have some board agreements that we have established. Listen actively, no sidebars, please. Respect people and ideas. Very important, presume positive intent. Use electronic devices respectfully and stay engaged. Listen to learn, not to defend. Be brave and be vulnerable. And I thank my board colleagues for honoring our board agreements. Okay. Let's see. The evaluation, that's not now, right? That comes up later. Okay. Okay. Let us go ahead and, I wanted to talk about the retreat that we had on Saturday. We had a very productive session from 9 till 3 this past Saturday, where we discussed all sorts of different topics. We did some team building as a board. There were some challenging issues that we had to address and resolve. And our facilitator, Mr. Scott Morrell from the Michigan Association of School Board, let us know that it is because of all the work that we've done over the past 18 months at our quarterly all-day Saturday retreats that we were able to listen to one another and participate in the kind of conversation we had to resolve what needed to be addressed. So again, I thank my board colleagues for being willing to invest that kind of time in our collaboration as a board. We continue to build a culture of mutual respect and dignity with which we treat one another, with a focus on presuming positive intent and coming to one another when we have questions and concerns. With that, items from the Secretary, Mr. Walker.
Thank you. The board has received communications regarding the cell phone policy, achievement gaps, Thrun School law notes, bullying, and whether the board follows its own policies. Communications are acknowledged, and when appropriate, a response is provided. A list of correspondence can be found in the board packet, which is available on the FPS website.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Do we have a report today from the roundtable president?
We should have Ani here. If he is, come on up.
Fantastic.
And Ani is going to give our student roundtable update.
Okay, so currently what we've been talking about is we've established our group focus for the year, which is preparing for the future. And what that entails is getting our students more ready for college and future plans and showing them their options. And currently we're in the process of planning a career fair within the district. The details are still being worked on. But what we were thinking is to open it to our community and allow different parents and people in our community to come in, showcase their career. And we were also thinking of involving various scholarship organizations and trade schools as well, as they're not talked about enough, and sort of give students a chance to explore the various careers, even though we do a good job already in the district of doing that. But the thing is, currently it is optional, and doing a career fair sometime maybe during school hours would sort of force students to take a look at it, which we thought would be really beneficial. Some of the other things is we are currently planning a joint meeting with the Youth Diversity Council for the student-led council, I believe, to further talk about, and I think this meeting takes place sometime, I believe it's sometime around our next meeting in February. And other than that, we're gonna further finalize the details regarding the career fair, and that's it for now.
Any questions?
Just make sure that when the career fair is finalized, just make sure that we know, so as many of us that can attend will be able to.
Sure.
And thank you so much for the initiative that your roundtable is taking to create this career fair. That is phenomenal.
Thank you.
Thank you for your leadership.
Oh, and thank you for lifting up trade schools, CTE, as part of your preparing yourself for the future. I think that is very insightful on your part. Appreciate it.
One of the things the student roundtable students discussed this year is involving our parents and trying to reach out to our parents in the community who are in a variety of different careers, and envisioning this career fair of having parents connect us with their respective businesses or nonprofits or other areas to really kind of help develop this career fair for a variety of possible careers that our students would like to go. So we've got great people on the student roundtable. I want to thank Dr. Coffin, who stood in for me last week when I was at the superintendent's conference, and I know Ms. Heinrich is on that at the student roundtable as well.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ani.
Very exciting. Thank you. Goodness. We grown-ups have to just get out of the way. Let them do what they do. Fantastic. All right, recognitions, Dr. Delgado?
Yep. Happy to have a few recognitions this evening, and as has become custom now, at the end of these recognitions, we'll take a short break to allow us to celebrate with the families and maybe take some pictures. So we'll go into recess and then we'll resume the meeting. So first up, I'd like to bring to the podium our wonderful Assistant Superintendent of Strategic Initiatives and Innovation, Dr. Kelly Coffin, who's going to talk to us about the new FEA staff for 2022-2023.
All right, good evening, everyone. I am so excited to be here tonight to introduce and welcome our new FEA staff members, who some of them are joining us here in person, and some of them are watching this meeting online. So I'd like to ask those of you who are here in person to please stand. I also want to recognize our teacher leaders, and you guys will have to stand too. Nanette Suarez, Chelsea Chambers, and Katie Gustafson. They spend countless hours planning, preparing, and working with, as you can see here, over 70 new staff members that we're welcoming to Farmington this year. They meet monthly with Nanette, Chelsea, and Katie to learn more about district initiatives, but also to really receive that collegial support in topics that they bring to light as they continue to navigate their first year here with us at FPS. On behalf of the instructional services, we thank you all for choosing Farmington. We are thrilled to have you here with us, and please know that your energy and enthusiasm is appreciated, and we all thank you so much for everything you do.
Any comments? Oh, my goodness. We are so thrilled that you have chosen Farmington as your new home. I am a teacher myself. I teach middle school currently, not in Farmington, but I dream about it. I'm in my 36th year of teaching, and it just keeps getting better and better. That first year can be a real rocky ride, but hang in there. The energy and enthusiasm that you bring to our classrooms and the love and care and attentiveness that you show in your work with each of our students every day, it is noticed and so appreciated. The standing ovation for you was completely heartfelt and genuine, and we thank you for showing up every day to work with our students in such meaningful ways. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And our next introduction, we have an administrative introduction. I'd like to invite up to the microphone Mr. Bradley Paddock, our Assistant Superintendent of Talent Development.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Delgado and the Board of Education. Tonight, I am very excited and proud to announce the names and bring forward two separate individuals as assistant principal leaders in the Farmington Public Schools, one at the middle level and one at the high school level. At this time, I would like Mrs. Jennifer Katz to please come forward and join alongside me as I make her introduction. I am pleased to announce Mrs. Jennifer Katz as the next assistant principal at Power Middle School. Jennifer Katz, a middle school Spanish teacher and educational leader, is being appointed to serve as the new assistant principal at Power Middle School, following her working as an interim assistant principal there since the beginning of the school year. Probably her longest and most intense interview process of her entire career to date. Prior to coming to Farmington Public Schools, she worked for Berkeley Public Schools and Wayne Westland Community Schools. Jennifer earned her Bachelor of Arts in Science from Michigan State University, her Master's in Elementary from Wayne State University, and her Master's in Administration from the University of Michigan Flint. She currently serves as the co-leader for the District Organizational Effectiveness Strategic Planning Committee. In her 3 months as an administrative intern at Power, Jennifer Katz has demonstrated that she has all the qualities that we are looking for in an assistant principal, stated Power Middle School Principal Allison Robinson. She is smart, resourceful, and a wonderful asset to our Power community. We are so excited to have her as a permanent addition to our team. On behalf of the cabinet-level leadership, I want to thank you for your passion to serve kids and staff, and your overall commitment to serving as a building-level leader administrator in Farmington Public Schools. Please feel free in joining me in congratulating Mrs. Jennifer Katz on her official new leadership role within the Farmington employee family.
Thank you so much for a wonderful introduction. I want to thank Dr. Delgado, Cabinet, and the Board of Education for granting me this amazing opportunity. I would also like to thank Allison Robinson and the staff for their wonderful support throughout this journey. I am so excited to continue working with the Power community and look forward to further collaboration with staff, students, and families. Thank you.
Rich?
Yes, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to point out that there was definitely some fist pumping going on in the audience for getting that interim label taken off.
Yes, yes.
Yes, so
I took it off my email today.
congratulations.
Thank you so much. I really
As
appreciate it.
As Mr. Paddock said, this was a very long and intensive, I guess, interview process. So we are glad to have you fully on the team, taking that tag off assistant principal, and looking forward to seeing the rest of the school year go.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Congratulations.
At this time, I would like to invite Ms. Patrice Baxter to please come forward and join alongside me as I make her introduction. On November 8th, Principal Green and I began screening submitted cover letters and resumes of approximately 42 applicants in search of our next assistant principal at North Farmington High School. After this initial screening, we began the thorough process of in-person interviews with 7 candidates. The first round interview was with our central office cabinet team. The second round was with a very committed and reflective stakeholder group made up of staff, parents, students, and additional central office staff. And the third round was an intense educational-based talent identification assessment looking for and identifying those key interpersonal leadership strengths within our candidates. The fourth and final round was between 2 finalists speaking with Dr. Delgado and me. I am pleased to announce and introduce to you Ms. Patrice Baxter, who has been selected to serve as one of the 2 assistant principals at North Farmington High School. Ms. Baxter currently serves as an assistant principal in the Detroit Public Schools Community School District, where she has been since 2016. Prior to becoming an assistant principal, she was a math teacher. Patrice earned her Bachelor of Arts at the University of Detroit Mercy, focusing on education and mathematics, graduating magna cum laude. She earned her Master's of Science in Curriculum and Instruction from Concordia University and obtained her administrative certificate through the Michigan Association of Secondary Schools Principals. We are excited to have Ms. Patrice Baxter join the Raider community as our new assistant principal, stated North Farmington Principal Mr. Joe Green. Her focus on building relationships with all stakeholders, her organized and goal-oriented thinking, and her commitment to serving students make her a great addition to our administrative team and school community. On behalf of the cabinet leadership, I want to thank you for seeking Farmington as your leadership home and your passion to serve our kids in your new role. We look forward to seeing you implement your 30, 60, 90-day entrance plan at North. Please feel free in joining me in welcoming Ms. Patrice Baxter to our Farmington employee family.
This is my Grammy. Thank you all. Thank you all so much. I'd like to first start by thanking Dr. Delgado and all the members of the Board of Education at Farmington Public Schools. Like, that's probably the closest I'll ever get, right? So let me thank you first, since I got that off my chest, right? Making the transition mid-school year, as if anyone has done it, is not easy. Something that's made this a great, like, where I feel great doing this is that literally each and every person that I've met during this process, from interviewing, from the administrative team at North, from the clerical staff at central office, everyone has made me truly feel welcomed and appreciated and motivated, and there's so much passion and love within the district that in itself did a lot with helping me make this decision. I truly feel like I'm joining a family, which is exciting to say. I'm so happy and grateful to be here. I'm looking forward to working with all of the lovely staff and students and meeting the families at North. And as I've just learned, it's a great day to be a Raider.
Yes, Ms. Weeds.
I wanted to just reserve my comments for the end rather than saying something at each point in time.
Sure.
I would love to welcome both the new FEA staff and also the new administrators. I'm glad to hear that folks are feeling welcomed. We certainly are proud of our district and feel like there's a magic and a special sauce here, and I hope that you have already felt that and continue to feel it. Personally, I just wanted to extend every good wish to you and every good grace to you from your school communities, your parents, and everyone and your students. Congratulations and welcome, and I look forward to meeting with you more on a one-on-one basis. We've got lots of community engagement activities and things that happen in the school. We are regularly engaging, so I look forward to meeting you soon.
Thank you, and congratulations again. Now we're going to, oh, you have more?
have one more.
Okay. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
And I just wanted to share, with each new hire, the Farmington family becomes stronger. And so to the 70 of you who are new staff, to our 2 new administrators, welcome. This is a place you're going to be for the rest of your career, because we're building something together that is a place that's a destination district and somewhere that you're going to feel the love, feel the support, and feel accomplished in helping students and families every single day. So we're proud of you and we welcome you to our family. And while we welcome people, sometimes we have to say goodbye to people too. And so this is the last board meeting for our beloved Dr. Jackie McDougall, our Executive Director of Special Education. So I want to share a little bit about Dr. McDougall. Jackie joined Farmington Public Schools in 2013 as the Supervisor of Special Education. In 2015, she was promoted to Executive Director of Special Education. During her time with the district, she has worked to reduce the impact of implicit bias in eligibility and disciplinary practices related to special education. Jackie earned her special education supervisor certification from Grand Valley State University, her Master of Education Ed Leadership from Oakland University, and her Doctor of Philosophy in Clinical Psychology from the University of Detroit Mercy. Oh, she also has a Master of Science and Counseling, Psychology, Mental Health from the University of Southern Mississippi, and her Bachelor of Arts in Psychology and Mental Health from Tougaloo College, Mississippi. She holds licensure and certification as a Michigan licensed psychologist, Michigan School Psychologist certification, Michigan School Administrator certification, and Michigan Special Education Administrator. Just doing a couple things over a career. In 2019, Jackie earned the Oakland Schools Gwizdala Award for her work in the field of special education. This honor is given out annually by the Special Ed Administrators of Oakland County, also known as SEOC. The Gwizdala Award was created in honor of Gregory Gwizdala, who was the Director of Special Education at Oakland Schools from 1997 to 2001. And then this very year, in 2022, Jackie received the Beekman Award from the Michigan Association of Administrators of Special Education, also known as MACE. This is the lead organization in the state of Michigan. This is the top award in the state of Michigan. Since 1973, MACE has honored a special education administrator with the Beekman Award that exhibits excellence in addition to an extensive list of requirements. So it's easy to say that Dr. McDougall is among one of the most accomplished and credentialed people that you will ever meet. But she's also one of the kindest, most collaborative, most thoughtful, and most dedicated human beings that you're going to meet. She is going to be sorely missed by our cabinet, by our administration, by our teachers, by our children, by our parents, by our entire district. And we wish her only the best in her well-deserved retirement. But we want to say thank you, Jackie. And not goodbye yet, because you have a couple weeks left. But thank you for all that you've done for thousands and thousands of children and families. Dr. McDougall.
Good evening, everyone. You know, I always said that I wasn't going to cry, and I always say that and I always lie. So, because this is This is really hard. It's exciting. I'm so excited. I think after 30-plus years, sometimes you get to the point where you say you want to leave something while you still love it, and that's what I say. I still love what I do. I still love the people. I still love the children. I still love all of the work that we have to accomplish, and I know that whoever's coming after me, they have a great start, and they will do wonderfully. I want to say thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I have had an awesome, awesome career. I started in Detroit. I was in New Orleans as a school psychologist in DPS, Pontiac, and then I end my career here, which is like having like icing on the cake. I feel like what you've provided for me has been so amazing by allowing me to serve parents, to serve your children, staff, to serve you, and to serve anybody who I hope that I've come in contact with. I always try to say I want to leave an impression. I don't know what that impression is going to be. Sometimes it's really good, and sometimes people walk away angry. But what I do is I try to give my best, and anything that I give it for the people that I'm serving. So I try to give everything to the children, and I hope that you all saw that in me. I hope that that I touched some lives. Hope that I touched them in a great way. But I have to say, you all touched my life. You all really touched me in a wonderful way, and I am so pleased and so blessed to be in Farmington. It's going to be hard to say goodbye. However, people keep saying, you're smiling so much. Why are you smiling so much? But, I'm smiling for two reasons. I'm excited about retiring. I'm a little nervous because I don't know what that means for me. I still feel like I'm kind of young, so there's some things that I need to do. But I'm smiling because I know that I've done what I was supposed to do here. My time is up. I've done taking care of the business I think I was supposed to take care of. Everybody is... You're in a place for a season. My season here has been wonderful, and I do want to say thank you. Thank you to all of the people who work with me, all of those who have worked under me, who have supported me. My staff is the greatest. I've the best people. I have the most wonderful team, and I hope that they know that I appreciate them. The CO team. Thank you, guys. You all are amazing. I just want to say thank you. You just don't know how much you've touched me. And I will be talking about this probably for the rest of my life, knowing that that this was a good stopping point. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for tilling the soil for us and planting a garden that can continue to thrive as you move on to other things.
Thank you.
I also just want to offer a huge thank you. I've been around a while, and I've seen you do great things and respond in incredible ways, no matter what has been thrown at you. And so I wish you all the best as you approach retirement in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Okay, now we are going to take a 10-minute recess so that we can congratulate all of our colleagues. Friends and colleagues, could we call our meeting back to order? Friends and colleagues? All righty.
Sounds good.
It's okay, take your time, it's all right.
Take your time.
That's the best part of the meeting.
Yeah, awesome. All righty, I'm going to call this meeting back to order. Now we have our legislative update, Mr. Rich.
Thank you. Last week wrapped up the legislative session for the year at the state level. The federal level is still back and forth voting and probably will through at least this and potentially next week, trying to find a way to fund the government because otherwise it stops on Friday. So they're working on that at the federal level. At the state level, passing through the Senate this week, there were 3 notable school-related bills passed through the Senate, which have been ordered enrolled and are on their way to the governor's desk for possible signature. The first was House Bill 4188, which requires certain employer contributions to be paid from the state school aid fund, and that passed 31-0. The House Bill 5777 requires that the department develop resources for use by a parent or legal guardian of a child who is deaf or hard of hearing, and that passed 29-2. And then the third was House Bill 6042, which includes requirements for critical incident mapping data in school safety response plan, and so that passed 31-0. And so we're seeing those on their way to the governor's desk for potential signature.
Wonderful.
And after that, there's going to be no more session at the state level, so they should be all set for the rest of the year.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Rich. Next, we have some district updates. Dr. Delgado.
Thank you, Dr. Blau, and my comments will be brief, but I just wanted to welcome everyone to our December meeting. We are very excited. School is wrapping up for the first semester, although those high school students are going to have final exams very shortly after the break, so you want to study up a little bit over that break. But we're very excited about all the things that are happening in our schools, including our winter holiday musicals and choir concerts, band, orchestra, as well as some of the musicals that we've seen. I was able to attend Warner's rendition of Frozen Jr., and I can't get Let It Go out of my head. So, but they were fantastic, as are all of the performances. And when you look at the opportunity for literally hundreds of students to be involved in band or orchestra or choir or theater, it's just a wonderfully rich extension of the classroom for our students, as well as winter sports. So I saw the big rivalry between North Farmington and Farmington girls basketball, and so all of the young athletes were really good sports. I saw young people picking each other up off the court from different teams and showing quality sportsmanship, sportswomanship, and I was just happy to support all of our student athletes. There's so much good going on and so much for students to get involved in, and it's a really exciting time to be in school. So I would encourage the community to attend all of our musicals, our activities, and really celebrate along with us. We also know that we have many campaigns of giving from the community and in a variety of opportunities, and so we would encourage all of that, the donations that we have from Goodfellas, as well as some of the other organizations that I know some people may talk about in their comments as well. And then last but not least, I was able to attend the state robotics competition for our middle school robotics team, which was held last Friday night and Saturday at Macomb County Community College. And so I want to give a shout out to the Hack Bites, as well as the Steam Bots. And so we had wonderful middle school teams, Steve Traxel and the other coaches and the parent volunteers who help with the engineering. That was another opportunity for dozens and dozens of students, and they were so very excited. And on Friday evening before the final competition, when they had the random draw, both Farmington teams actually had to go against each other. So,
Wow.
but they were really good sports with each other, and they were very excited to tell me about their robots, and I promised them that we would bring them back to one of our Board of Education meetings so they can show you their robots and what they were doing. So, so congratulations to all of our students. Thank you to our teachers, to our coaches, to our sponsors, to our adults, parents who volunteer their time, and and really enhance the experience for students in our school district. In terms of other district updates, we have two more. First, I'd like to bring up to the microphone our Farmington Family YMCA. We have a Camp Riley report, and you will enjoy hearing from our Farmington YMCA. And we have our wonderful executive director of the YMCA, Mr. Doug Edwards, and his team. So come on up, Doug and team, and let's hear about Camp Riley.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for allowing us to be here to present. Again, I'm Douglas Edwards. I'm the Executive Director at the Farmington YMCA. We can join, give, serve to make every day better in our community. Appreciate this time. This here is Brittany Fuller. Brittany Fuller is our new Youth and Family Program Director. She just started in the summer, so she had the great opportunity to help support the staff team and directly service our Camp Riley. And then we have Tanya Murphy here, who has some dual roles in helping out with camp and also our before and after care program, which we have the opportunity to make sure Farmington Public Schools kids are safe in a welcoming and inclusive environment and also having fun as well and having a little bit of enrichment as well. So thank you so much for that opportunity and continued partnership. I'm gonna hand it over to Brittany to go over Camp Riley's.
Where do I hit the?
Is there a place where we click the next slide? Or?
It says click right here. It should work.
Oh,
Actually, you moved it.
Okay. Oh, boy.
Hi, everybody. So as Doug said, I am Tanya Murphy. I am the Senior Youth Program Director at the Farmington Family YMCA. I have actually been helping or been a part of camp for the past about 6 years, actually. So it's really great to bring Brittany aboard, and we are very excited to have her start with a full camp season this year. The history and background of Camp Riley is that we began in 2009 for the Farmington students who were entering and exiting grades K through 5. We are specifically designed for students who could benefit from extra support in academics, financial literacy, and social emotional development. We were founded upon a robust partnership between Farmington Public Schools, the Farmington Family YMCA, the Farmington Youth Assistance, and the Farmington Community Library. Funding for our program operations is made possible by the Riley Foundation, as well as many grants that we receive year to year. This actually enables us to keep the cost lower for the Farmington Public School students. Many staff that work with Camp Riley actually pursue degrees in education, social work. Some are working in FPS currently. We've been very fortunate in our before and after care program that I have gotten a few of our staff that work Camp Riley to come work for our before and after care program, which has been wonderful. Our objectives are to close that summer learning gap as much as possible, to strengthen the areas of academics, social emotional learning, and financial literacy. We provide a safe and fun learning environment for our students. We teach students the YMCA core values: honesty, caring, respect, responsibility, and inclusion, and how these apply to their everyday life. We have also been able to expose students to new environments and experiences through field trips and interactive activities. Our financial support consists of grants providing funding to assist 50% of camp families with camp dues. We were definitely able to provide many scholarships through the YMCA as well through our annual campaign. All of our money we raise at Farmington stays at Farmington. The supportive partners allowed the Y to reduce prices for all of Camp Riley participants. Even post-COVID, we've been able to keep camp costs for Riley participants down due to subsidies, while every other program price has actually increased substantially. Camp Riley is definitely, it's an engaging hybrid of themed day camp activities and academic enrichment. We have a fun summer camp atmosphere, opening ceremonies, camp songs, games, crafts, field trips. It is student-centered, hands-on daily ELA math and STEM activities. We have theme-based field trips. These are back since before COVID, so it's been wonderful to be able to send the kids on 2 to 3 field trips every week. We have active, engaged students having fun. We also offer character development, social emotional learning, and other activities surrounding social skills and emotional intelligence. We also have STEM projects with problem-solving focus and healthy food we provided from the YMCA. One of the things I personally love about Camp Riley is that we take these games and we bring it to the students of camp so they don't feel like they're in a school setting, but they're learning things. An example of that would be the water blasters they do, where they teach them about angles and things like that on a hot summer day. So they're not sitting in a classroom, they're having fun, but they're actually learning while they're doing it.
What kid wouldn't want to figure out the best angle to
Right.
their
Right.
camp counselor?
I'm going to go ahead and let Brittany continue with the camp demographics.
Good evening. So the camp demographics are ages of campers are 5 to 12 years old. 54 campers enrolled summer of 2022. The grades are pre-K through 5th grade. Average attendance were 31 campers. The duration is 8 weeks. The ratio is 6 campers to 1 camp counselor, depending on age group, as well as 10 campers to 1 camp counselor. So the hours are 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Before and after care is from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., and then also from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Campers came from all Farmington public schools, well, public elementary schools, excuse me. Staff. So staff received over 40 hours of intense leadership training, emphasizing the care and well-being of campers, curriculum, leading activities, and building relationships. Licensed day camp through the state of Michigan, certified in CPR, first aid, and child safe. Also, curriculum and staff support volunteers, Ms. Barb Duray, custodial services throughout the school district was provided.
And also, thank you to the Farmington Hills Public Safety. They actually provided our active shooter training as well. And that's greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Camp Riley received support from Farmington Family YMCA, Farmington Public Schools, Farmington Family YMCA Annual Campaign, Oakland County Toys for Tots, Michigan Department of Education. Camp Riley's curriculum is aligned to the National Common Core standards in K through 5 grades. The target subjects is mathematics, English, language arts, and STEM. So ELA is much more than reading. It's listening, it's speaking, it's discussing, as well as writing. It is standard-based, 4 to 5 days per week, self-selected reading, which is DEAR, meaning drop everything and read. Writing, journals, also activities. Read out loud, vocabulary building, sight words, activities, and expanded vocabulary through literature. So here's a few pictures from Camp Riley. Math. Math is taught 4 to 5 days per week. Standards-based activities, active, hands-on. Assessment is objective reference test based on Common Core standards. So STEM is also taught 2 to 3 days per week, standards-based activities as well, active and it's also hands-on. Core values and social and emotional learning. So Ms. Anna served as our behavioral intervention specialist this summer, supporting individuals and small groups with coping and regulation skills, conflict resolution, and SEL competencies. Second step out of school time curriculum was implemented into camp for the first time with the glowing reviews from staff and students, YMCA core values were used to reflect on behavior both proactively and retroactively to help in preventative and restorative conversations with youth. Some of the Camp Riley field trips were high velocity sports, Lake St. Clair Metro Park, Indian Springs Metro Park, Belle Isle, Kensington Metro Park, Willow Metro Park, YMCA for Zumba, Potter Park Zoo, Detroit Riverfront, Caribbean Steel Drums with dynamic school assemblies, and the list goes on. Also, there is weekly swimming at the YMCA on Fridays.
They love the swimming.
Camp Riley program structure is now the standard program structure for all YMCA day camps in Metro Detroit. We have received recognition and accolades for this program structure from YMCA of the USA. This would not be possible without the support from the community partners. So some of our goals is to boost enrollment to serve more students for summer of 2023 through hiring more staff, connect with graduating class of 2022 in FPS. We need cause-driven leaders, 18 and up. Who's looking forward to grow a career in youth development, education, social work, psychology, etc. Training is provided and paid. Embed with the FPS profile of a lifelong learner into program operations. Also, meet with administrators, social workers, and teachers to discuss innovative program initiatives and to provide referrals for more student enrollment. So, we just like to say a special thank you to all who have made this summer and every summer at Camp Riley possible. Farmington Public Schools, Farmington Youth Assistance, Farmington Family YMCA, Farmington Family YMCA Annual Campaign, Oakland County Toys for Tots, Michigan Department of Education, Farmington and Farmington Hills Foundation for Youth and Families. A special thank you to Barb DeRay, who's the curriculum extraordinaire. Thank you.
And also just thank you, Diane. You're awesome being on our board, so thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity to continue to work with you all. We truly appreciate creating a welcoming, inclusive environment for the Farmington Public School students. It's a lot of fun. They love the swimming, they love the super soakers. I missed that high velocity field trip. A bit mad about that. That was going to be pretty exciting. But yeah, just wanted to say thank you so much for the time, and thank you to the staff and the janitorial services with the school that you're provided. If you're not familiar, we do, Farmington Public Schools provides an actual school for us to be in during the summer. So we really appreciate that, because I mean, that means, going to spaces that teachers are providing education to, and we appreciate the teachers allowing us the opportunity to do that. So thank you so much.
Don't go away, because we have questions.
And definitely the bus drivers. Yeah.
I have a comment and a question. I'm sitting here looking at Jackie McDougall, or Dr. McDougall is going to retire. I volunteer with Goodfellows, and Barb DeRay is over at Volunteers with Goodfellows and Toys for Tots, and she was telling me she's the one that started Camp Riley and writes the curriculum, and she is done all this as a volunteer, and she doesn't take a lot of credit for it, but every year she writes a curriculum. So, there are things to do in retirement and contributions to make. And it's it's so exciting that something that started in Farmington is going on to, just all of the YMCAs and how it is taken and implemented. And my question, so, good job for that and presenting for that and things that are sustained. You work with students in K through 5, and I guess a couple questions. Do you have students that come back every year? And then the second thing is, because our students are Farmington School, do you report to the schools on the students that did participate in the program? And is there any sort of tracking as far as to see if it's making a difference and if it helps them in their achievement?
We definitely have students who come back year to year. We have usually the school that they come from will refer them to us. I've had many calls from many principals over the years. This year we did not track only because it was a little bit sporadic. We had students who would only come maybe 1 or 2 days a week, or maybe 1 or 2 weeks out of the whole 12-week program. Normally on a normal year, we absolutely do tracking. We post-test. We pre-test and post-test to see what gains they've made in literacy and math. This year we didn't. It's been very strange coming back from COVID. The first year back from COVID, I don't think we even did Camp Riley. We were all sort of Camp Michigama that year. But we're definitely hoping next year to kind of get back in the swing of things, and the kids will definitely come back 5 days a week. We're very hopeful for that. But it was just too difficult because, like I said, some kids would come like a couple days a week or maybe only 1 week out of the whole summer this year.
Yes.
I seem to recall, maybe it was last year, I did see data from the program where in both reading and math.
2021 we did have data. Yep, we had
and
a little
I
bit of
noticed
data.
there was
Yep.
significant improvement
You're
in both
right.
reading and math scores. So applaud you there.
I'm thinking the year before from
Yep,
COVID.
Yep, appreciate that. And so I'm confident that if you're, engaging in the same program, that there's likely learning, although we just didn't see the data this year.
Yeah.
But wanted to commend you on the accolades and the fact that this program is sort of the model for other programming. My question is around capacity. What is your capacity? I saw something like 54 campers and 31 in attendance. If you can speak to that difference, and then what the barriers are, if any, to increasing.
I would say the biggest barrier to our capacity is staffing. I mean, wouldn't you say so, Doug?
Yeah, staffing is the biggest one. You want to make sure we're staying in ratios, make sure we're giving the students the best experience that they can get, and also meet licensings and things of that nature. So.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, but we're working very hard. We interview every day for before and after care, and we start interviewing for camp in January. So we're very hopeful. I think things are picking up as far as interviewing's going. We're definitely getting a lot more interviews, a lot more staff. So I think this summer we'll see the numbers gradually rise.
If we do start a teacher cadet program here in Farmington Public Schools, that might become another source for potential staff for Camp Riley.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, happy to
It would be amazing.
learn more about that, and
Yeah.
One more thing, I appreciated Mrs. Heinrich's thought process with respect to a job for Dr. McDougall in retirement. Plenty of other thoughts as well for anyone who's approaching retirement, so if you...
I have some retired ladies who do aftercare. We can talk later.
No, I wasn't having her work for Camp Riley. I was going to say, just your idea, be creative and start something with your talents.
Okay, she hasn't even retired yet. I don't know if you've told her things yet.
She hasn't left the store yet.
Options. We'll give you a minute, Dr.
I have one question and then one comment. What can you tell us a little bit? What is the second step out of school time curriculum?
That I'm not 100% versed in, but it's definitely a curriculum that we use. I believe we used it for before and after care a little
Okay.
For its out-of-school time. So we do offer before and after care.
Oh, okay.
At Camp Riley. It is all-inclusive in the cost, and we do, I'd say 100% of our parents take advantage of that, too. And then we do have a separate curriculum that we use for our before and after
Well, I
care
see, I
program.
see. I just
Yeah.
wasn't sure what it was
Yeah.
for, so.
I could share just a little bit. Second Steps is a social, it's a character education curriculum as well, that some of our schools, many schools around the county use it. And it's prescribed curriculum that you can work with students on emotional regulation and other aspects. And so it's fairly common in schools and as well as in camps.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Also, I'm really impressed and grateful that you're considering embedding the profile of a lifelong learner into your programs. Thank you. And thank you for all that you do for so many of our children, both before and after school and throughout the summer. We really appreciate you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Okay, thank you for being here.
So,
And next up, we're going to resume a tradition we started last year. So you are aware that we have a very robust strategic plan in Farmington Public Schools. We tout all the time that we have had over 100 members of our community, teachers, parents, staff members, students, board members who are participating on our strategic planning initiatives as well as our recent mission and vision work. And so last year we had 8 subcommittees that were led entirely by teachers and administrators, and we have, after 1 year, whittled those down, condensed those to 6 subcommittees. And so starting tonight, we will have every other board meeting between now and the end of the year. We'll be presenting an update from each of those 6 subcommittees. And it all starts tonight. And of course, it starts with our wonderful Dr. Kelly Coffin.
Hello again. I appreciated the reference, Dr. Blau, to the profile and recognizing how it's being incorporated in the work and support of our community. So this is the development of our profile of a lifelong learner is one of the artifacts of the fantastic strategic planning process that we are now in year 3, and we're starting to see evidences of that work. As Dr. Delgado said, we now have 6 strategic planning committees that continue to meet. Our goal is to wrap up the 2 objectives for each of those committees by the end of this school year. We began with our profile work. We are continuing now to refresh our mission and vision so that it best reflects a path forward for us and our students to be able to fulfill our promise to the community, which is our profile of a lifelong learner. And with that, when that is completed, we will take all the information we've gathered over the last 3 years in this work and then look at our next iteration of the FPS strategic plan for the next 3 to 5 years. So I'm so excited. And that work could not be done without the great people that really lead this work. So I want to call up our co-leaders and our co-chair for our Community Relations Strategic Planning Committee. So it's Jackie Meyer, Deb Malloy, and Chris Solomon is the co-chair. And then we also have a community member, Michelle Ott, who's going to join them in speaking.
All right. Thank you. I am Jackie Meyer. I teach 7th grade math and English at Power. I'm also a Farmington parent with kids at Power and Farmington. You guys want to introduce?
I'm Deb Malloy. I work in the business office in the payroll department. I'm a former Farmington parent and a community member.
I'm Michelle Ott. I am a parent and community member and now a business owner in the community as well. So
What's the new name? What is the name?
So the new owner of this, it was the Sunflower Bakehouse, and now it is we're rolling it into this now the Never Forgotten Bakery. So bakeries like the Sunflower Bakehouse will be literally never forgotten, which is part of that. So really great to be part of a community, and my kind of motto is relentless positive action, and I've never seen better examples of that than in this district, and particularly with these committees. So as a parent with several kids in the district. And, it just is really great to be included in these committees and to be a part of all of that, especially now in the community with the business. And I would just go on for one more second. As a business owner, I can't wait to explore all of the possible opportunities to bring students in. There's a tremendous amount of math and science in baking. Wouldn't it be cool if, when kids go, why do I need to learn this? Well, because you make delicious cookies. So we can do both. But to offer, employment opportunities or, coming and doing maybe little field trips or something, but offering opportunities to students that are looking any sort of option, and fundraising, we can do that too. So anyway, really excited and really glad to be part of this great group of people that really, really just want to make everything for the students better. So pleased to be here.
And I'm Chris Sullivan. I am the principal, and I volunteered to be a taste tester. I think that's another career option and a career pathway. So I am the principal at Gill, and I've been blessed to work with all of these women in multiple capacities.
So we wanted to share some of our accomplishments and celebrations since we last met last year. In the past year, we have created a survey for new family members to FPS, and as we've begun that centralized enrollment, we have shared it with the centralized enrollment to implement it, to get feedback on how we can best serve families as they're joining our school district. Another thing that we have accomplished is a centralized database for all our partnerships, and so that all the principals, secretaries have access to see who partners with which school or departments, and just to have that to reach out if needed for potential mentorships or partnerships in various ways.
And as an outgrowth of that database, we had a community partnership event last month, and I want to thank the school and community relations team for all of their help with that. The Power Middle School was so gracious to host us, and we had presenters from Visions Unlimited and the Gill Elementary students. So in that first photo there, those are some Gill LOC students telling us about the different jobs that they hold in the credit union and how they are employees in the credit union as part of their school day. You'll see a couple pictures of adults working together, and those are community business members that are collaborating and getting a chance to meet together and network and to discuss some potential partnership opportunities with district employees. And the final photo that you see there is some of our power musicians that were there to provide some entertainment and ambiance to the members while we were at our meeting.
So when we reconvene in January, we have some additional goals that we would like to accomplish. And so a lot of what we focused on so far has been within what's happening already in Farmington schools with new families, but then also current partnerships. So we are now wanting to reach out to members of the community who do not have children in Farmington schools and to figure out how we can improve our communication and support from them. And we want to continue to expand our partnerships and to start getting people back into our schools to help with enrichments and mentorships and whatever they have to offer. And when we did the partnership event, we had created a survey that we asked the community partnerships to complete, and we don't have as many responses as we would like, so we are going to be sending that out through email to hopefully get some more and find other ways, creative ways that we can partner. So, are you going to speak some more? Okay, so thank you very much, and do you have any questions for us? Yes, Mr. Walker.
I just want to congratulate you on continuing to do some fantastic work. I had the pleasure of being on this committee previously. Unfortunately, my classes fell on the night that you guys currently meet, but You're doing some phenomenal work, and you just gave my colleague here an idea for something that we can do with our Committee of Communications and Community Engagement. So she slipped me a little note like we're back in high school. And I wrote it down, and so it's already going to be an agenda item so that we can hopefully share and continue and advance the work as best we can in partnership with you guys. But fantastic job, fantastic
Awesome.
job.
Thank you, and we miss you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm just hanging out with you guys.
And if I could just add, to kind of sing their praises, and really to what Michelle said is, we recognize our partners in our business community, and we talk about our learning community, but it extends well beyond the four walls of Farmington Public Schools. And so it's really about, we have wonderful business partners that are always willing to help us whenever we ask. There's also opportunities for them to help our students and to give back in that way. So we had many members, as an example, from the service industry, and said, we talked to them about, please come speak to our students about what it means to serve. And because what we know, if we think about those who leave our community and enter another community for their post-secondary education, we know the number one way that they will be successful is to be connected to that new community. We can help them do that. And who better to do that than those who have chosen a career of service to be able to help explain that. So this really came from the committee saying, how do we best work with our partners and not feel like we're only going to them when we need something, but how can we allow them to give back and support our students in a way that we just can't within the education system. So again, thank you guys. Thanks for everything. And just so proud of the work that this group has done.
Absolutely. I'm wondering if you were here when the Student Roundtable gentleman was talking about the career fair that they're thinking about hosting, and that might be an opportunity for collaboration. And I'm sure with Diane Bowman and her team, it's exciting to see these things begin to come together. But it's not happening by accident. It's happening because of the relentless positive action on behalf of all of you and all of us. So we'll all keep going. You had something else, Mr.
I just wanted to lift up what Dr. Coffin said. It is, especially in my learning now, the importance of community to school districts. People are under some sort of misnomer if they think that a school district can educate a child holistically all by itself. When the community wraps its arms around what the school district is doing, the education that the child receives exponentially grows. The experiences that the child has outside of the classroom augment, enhance, and emphasize everything that's taking place inside of the classroom. And so the importance of your committee, not to say that any of the other committees are less, but I just want to lift up the significance and the importance of your committee and the work that you do, and to continue to invite our business community, our community at large, to engage with our school district to make our kids the best that they can possibly be and continue to make this, as it was said earlier, a destination district.
Absolutely.
So I just want to continue to lift that up, and thank you again.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Those are the end of our district updates.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Delgado, and thank you, Dr. Coffin. All right. We are ready for reports from board committees. Mr. Walker, would you like to tell us about the Communications and Community Engagement Committee?
Thank you. Yes, the Communication and Community Engagement Committee met recently, and our sole topic of discussion for that particular meeting was centered around development of our coffee and conversation connectivity that we have as a part of our board goals. Our board goals state that we want to achieve 4 different meetings over the course of the school year. We've taken the time out to get 3 definitely on the books for the remainder of the school year. We got some conversation around trying to squeeze in the 4th, but just really felt like it's about quality of these meetings and not quantity, and then we can kind of reset ourselves going into the fall and make sure that we have minimally 2 per semester, which would then meet the goal, but have enough space to be able to have some flexibility about subject matter should things within the community change in terms of importance of talk. And so we talked about a number of different topics. Our school, our first subject for our first meeting will be on school safety and security. We're going to have a number of subtopics that'll come out of that, but that'll be the first topic of discussion. And actually, we've looked at a second topic already for our second meeting. So let me give you the dates. The first community dialogue that we're going to have will be January 26th, which I believe that's a Thursday, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
Okay, Thursday, January 26th. Our second meeting will be on March 14th. And then our third one.
Which is a Tuesday.
That's a Tuesday. Second one will be on March 14th, which is a Tuesday. And our third one will be, right now, it's a strong possibility that it will be May 30th, which is a Tuesday, for our third meeting. So again, our first one will be on school safety and security. Our second one, we're looking at discussing our electronic devices as an aspect of school safety and security, also as mentioned by a number of communications from our parents along the way. We have a facilitator for all three, Dr. David Dulio, who's the director of the Center for Civic Engagement and professor for the Department of Political Science at Oakland U. He will facilitate our discussions, and that is that's the goal, that this will not be a talking at, but a talking with. And so we have it structured in such a way where we will not be violating any OMA acts, because we are encouraging the entire board to be available, but we'll set it up so that there'll be discussions with small discussions with one or two board members at varying points within the room, a report out so that we can have a number of different dialogues taking place and a wider variety of feedback coming back to the community, back to the committee. At which time the next committee meeting is scheduled 1 to 2 weeks after that, so that we can debrief, have a report for the board, and share with the community at that point. So we're ready to go, we're ready to have that, and we're ready to communicate, discuss, and hear. And that's one of the things I just want to take a moment and say how proud I am of this particular board, that this is truly, truly, truly a board that listens to the community. It doesn't matter whether we agree with what's being said or not. We listen with the intent to learn, and we listen with positive intent in our hearts, and that's what we're looking to gain from our community when we have those discussions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Walker. Now we have a report from our Finance and Facilities Committee.
Yes, the Finance Committee met on December 9th. Myself, trustee Ms. Fox, and Mrs. Weems. And the item on the agenda was the first budget amendment. It's going to be a discussion item tonight. Mrs. Jennifer Kaminsky is going to present an overview. The committee spent a lot of time, I don't want to say grilling her, but we looked at all the detail and asked a lot of questions. And so I just want to reassure you that, there's nothing being glossed over or anything. Our finance department is really doing an outstanding job. And the purpose for this is because things change. The budget is set in June, and we need to make amendments because incomes, revenues change, and therefore expenses. And so we're looking forward to a report on that. And then it will be an action item at the January 10th meeting. So if anybody has questions on it, they can get those in. And with that, I am turning over chair of the Finance Committee to Mrs. Terry Weems. Will chair it in the future, as she's going to be the treasurer of the Board of Education. So she'll be reporting in the future. Any Mrs. Fox or Mrs. Weems, anything to add?
None for me.
We're good? Okay.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Heinrich. All right, we have discussion items next. The 2022-23 first budget amendment.
And we welcome to the podium our wonderful Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, Mrs. Jennifer Kaminsky.
All right, thank you. Just make sure this works. Okay. Sorry about that. Well, as Mrs. Heinrich mentioned, we are here for the first amendment to our budget. It was set in June, and there were still a lot of unknowns at that time. The state typically doesn't tell us what our funding is until after our fiscal year begins. So this first amendment really captures what we know about funding now. We also know what our enrollment numbers are, and we know the staff that we have in place, and adjust other numbers as necessary. So what's happened since July 1, the beginning of our fiscal year? So, and actually that should say May, and I meant to change that, I apologize. The May Revenue Estimating Conference, the state had better revenues than they previously anticipated. The previous year, there was a special August one. So they're typically held in May and January. We did receive a foundation allowance increase of $450 per pupil. And we had included in the budget an increase of $435, so it was pretty similar. The state did decide to fund hold harmless districts or allocate the full at-risk per pupil dollar amount. So in the past, we were only receiving 33% of the allocation. So this year, everybody's funded at 100%. And special education foundation funding, so they provided additional dollars on top of that 28% reimbursement, and then made some other changes. So overall, there was an increase to special education funding. We did see an enrollment increase of 79 students from what was originally budgeted. So I guess it's not really an increase, but we did budget to lose students this year, not knowing how things were going to continue. So we're happy to say that we didn't lose students, and so we're higher overall from the previous year. We did pass the non-homestead restoration millage in November, and so that's allowing us to collect our full 18 mills and the full foundation allowance. And as we've seen, interest rates have increased, which has a positive effect for us on our interest revenue. So just to kind of talk about some of the numbers and highlight some of the bigger changes on the revenue side. So in local revenue, again, because we passed that restoration millage, we were able to include that full 18 mills, so it increased our property taxes by about $873,000. Interest revenue increased by about $915,000. So really over the last 5, 6, 7 years, we've seen $30,000 to $50,000. And prior, in the early 2000s, we used to see over $1 million of interest. So it's trending back that way, just because of those rising interest rates. Local grants, rental income, and other miscellaneous revenue decreased just under $100,000. So on the state revenue side, again, we received that per pupil foundation allowance increase of $450 per pupil, and we had better than expected FTE from the fall count. So that amounted to about $1.2 million. We did receive additional MIPSERS UAAL revenues of $1.5 million. And this revenue also increases the cost of our retirement expense. An increase in 31A at-risk funding of $2.1 million. So again, that's due to that 100% funding model now versus the 33% in the past. And because that's a grant, a restricted grant, that also increases cost. And then an increase in and decreases in other state categorical payments and state grants of about $100,000 on a net basis. So on the federal revenue side, we've seen lots of federal revenue over the last 2 to 3 years. And so we did receive what we think is really the final allocation of the ESSER $3. And these were, excuse me, 11T equalization funds. So $4.7 million allocated on the state side. from their ESSER funding. And that was really to bring all school districts to the same kind of per pupil funding basis for ESSER 3. And then we had a reduction of $4.3 million of federal funds, ESSER $2, funds that we had spent in the previous year. Excuse me. On the interdistrict revenue side, we do have reduced PA 18 special education funding, as well as our vocational millage funding from Oakland schools. And that reduced PA 18 funding is really due to higher costs for districts that are providing center programs throughout the county. So the ISD funds all of those costs first and then distributes the remaining money, which is a little bit lower this year. And then we did have some reduced special education tuition revenues for collaborative agreements with other districts. So on the transfers and other transactions side, sometime in, I believe, October, November, we did receive about $1.1 million of one-time funding, one-time revenue received from the assignment of our cell tower lease agreements. And those were from lease agreements that were put into place many years ago. So instead of receiving that lease revenue, we received this one-time funding. So on the expenditure side, so revenue overall increased about $7.7 million, so pretty significantly, and you can see I tried to highlight those big items that changed. Expenditures increased about $6.1 million. So again, we revised salary and benefit numbers based on actual staffing in place. We had that increase in federal grant expenditures of about $400,000. So remember, we increased by 4.7 for the 11T, but then also had a reduction of $4.3 million. So, and then we did have that increase in state grant expenditures, approximately $2 million. We have some increased staffing to support literacy and math intervention. That's at the middle school level. We have some increased staffing to support social emotional learning. That's at the high school level. And right now, these are being funded out of some of those federal grants that we're receiving. We have increased staffing for additional special ed classrooms that were put into place this year or started. We did increase the per pupil building allocation, and that has to do with our building level supply budgets, really. So back when we thought we were going to have a $650 per pupil cut for the 2020-21 school year, that was after COVID had started, we reduced building budgets by 10%. And so we reevaluating based on higher costs, I found, oh, we never restored that amount. So we restored the amount, and then we actually gave them an additional 10% allocation this year, as they've really been kind of flat for a number of years. We increased instructional materials for music, phys ed, and art. We did have an increase in contracted special education transportation costs, and then an increase in special ed tuition for students attending center programs. So again, an increase in utility costs. We've seen gas and oil and electric increase, personally as well. So increase in athletic costs. We have our current contractual obligations, as well as higher transportation costs. So I mentioned that $1.1 million of revenue that we received as one-time funds. And so we are taking that $1.1 million and transferring that to the technology, other projects, and maintenance bus purchase capital projects funds. And so we just want to be very thoughtful about receiving one-time funds and making sure that we are setting those aside for one-time purchases or future capital needs. And then we've reviewed all other lines and adjusted those as needed. So on an overall basis, We have revenues of $164.3 million. And when I did kind of run the final numbers, I had to do a double take and see, was that really real? We've already been, always been around 140, 145 million, but with all these federal dollars that have come in, right now we're at 164.3. Expenditures are about 163.5. So we are adding about $770,000 to fund balance, which brings us to a fund balance currently an estimated amount of 19.8%. And then we also amended our, some other funds of the district, our special revenue nutrition services program, adjusted revenue, and also expense to reflect, some capital needs that we're purchasing this year, some capital items. We've modified our internal service fund, adjusted revenue as needed, adjusted interest, and then also evaluated our expenditures based on claims payments and how those are looking at this point. So we also adjusted all of our capital projects funds. The first three we adjusted to reflect higher interest revenue, which is a good thing for our capital projects, for our bond funds. And then, as I mentioned, we did transfer money, additional money, to the technology other projects, as well as maintenance bus purchase. So both of those funds were also adjusted for that transfer in. So just some future unknowns. Again, state funding. Will we continue to receive a foundation allowance increase? We all know, the economy's up and down. And will we be able to sustain the level that we have right now? Social emotional learning funds, those are available this year as a grant to request. Will that continue into the future? Safety security funds, same thing. Special education, will they continue to increase those dollars? And then again, whether those funds are restricted or unrestricted says how we can spend them. Enrollment projections, we're thinking that our enrollment has now stabilized. All of our classes are approximately, the same amount. So I think we're finally seeing that stabilizing. And then our federal and state economies, we'll continue to watch what's going on there. So next steps, evaluation of our instructional priorities, setting a board workshop where we can look at board priorities, strategic planning committees, again, they're going to help drive some of our resource allocation and work for the future. We'll develop budget parameters and assumptions for 23-24, probably sometime in February after the governor's released her budget. We'll develop forecasts for the next 2 years for fiscal year 25 and fiscal year 26. And we're already looking at what's going to happen when all of these ESSER funds expire. How is that going to impact those future budgets when we don't have those dollars? So we have some, analysis to do, discussions to have as to whether we continue with that work or move in a different direction. And that is it. I can answer any questions you might have.
Yes.
You mentioned a grant for the social emotional learning funds under the future unknowns. Is that the grant that you were referring to earlier, Dr. Delgado, the mental health grant that just came in?
It's a different one.
No, actually, that's a different one. The ones that I was talking about are from the state. We did apply for them. Not a lot of information's been provided yet as far as, us inputting a budget or requesting those funds. So, no, that's in addition to the Oakland County money.
Okay, thank you.
Not a question, but a comment. I appreciate all the work that you put into this and the explanation, but just to comment that, not only are we looking at the amendment, but you're making projections for the next 3 years. And so that's really forward-thinking and just, I appreciate that.
I just want to add one thing really quick, because I should have done it at the beginning, and I know Kim hates this, but I really want to thank Kim Pinchek, our finance director, who's here with me this evening. She and I work a lot together on this budget to get it all wrapped up, and so she's a huge asset to Farmington and to our department. So thank you, Kim, and I apologize I didn't start with that. So, and then you also saw Deb Malloy here this evening from the payroll department, and we've been trying to get her more involved in some of the other functions within our department. So we brought her along on building budget visits, things of that nature, to try and expand her capacity as well. So thank you.
I just want to make a couple comments. First, I know and appreciate how much work is involved in putting together both the budget and the budget amendment, so thank you. And second, I just wanted to also acknowledge that I'm very pleased to know, as I am, my colleagues are as well, that we are in a position where we're actually stabilizing, right? So we were originally projecting that we were going to lose students, and in fact, we picked up students this year. So very, very happy to see that trend start, that we're developing a new trend, right? So we're out of the trend of losing students year over year and beginning to stabilize with kindergarten classes approximating our graduating classes. The other thing that I wanted to also make mention of is I'm very happy and proud to see that a lot of what our board and our community has expressed is important is reflected in this budget, inclusive of the interventions and high dosage tutoring and social and emotional support with a number of new counselors that have been added to staff to provide the SEL support that we want for our students. So again, thank you for listening. Thank you for preparing a budget that reflects the desires of our district.
This might be a question maybe for someone else, maybe for Dr. Delgado, but regarding the budget of student enrollment and the fact that we didn't go low, we went up. Do we have any idea as to what that we can attribute that increase to? Particularly, do we know why we ended up getting more students? Not that I'm complaining, but just curious, because if we're doing something right, I'd like to continue to be intentional about that.
I think we found that we did increase at some levels, at the middle school, 6th grade. I know East, their population's higher than it was last year. And so we did pick up students, I believe at high school as well, where maybe they were attending, a private school or a charter, and they decided to come back to Farmington. So we know that we did get students back that were at another school.
Might be something worth investigating. So if we have a best practice sitting out there, we might want to be able to pick it up. Just something to think about.
And I think it's really important for us to continue to grow the positive culture here in Farmington and to share that and market that. I know working with Diane and her team to really get the message out. When you hear that people like the YMCA, who is the model for Metro Detroit, is incorporating our profile of a lifelong learner and expanding that pays dividends when people realize that, hey, let me take a look at that Farmington Public Schools if I'm moving into the area. And so our goal is to make this the very best school district that we can have for our students and to bring as many people here. We're very pleased to kind of debunk this notion that school districts, not just Farmington, but public schools are not doing a good enough job, and that's why we're losing students. We know that that's not true. It has a lot to do with birth rate and then home building and kind of, it's cyclical rotation. We know that there are a lot of factors. So it's premature to say it's because of all these wonderful things we're doing that we've gained kids, but I think because of all the wonderful things that we're doing, we're going to gain kids. And so we're very, very happy that it's stabilized and that we're actually up. It's the first time in probably a decade that most school districts have seen any kind of flattening, and so we're really, really happy about that.
Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Both of you. Alrighty, it is now time for public comment. If you are interested in making public comment, the cards are on the table to the side of the room, and you can bring them to Mrs. Starin. All right, Mr. Greenstein.
In my neighborhood, we're having a lot of new people move in with a lot of young kids. I think that's part of the reason.
Wonderful.
Well, good evening, everybody. There are a lot of similarities between a factory and a school system. In Dearborn, Ford can make 600,000 F-150s, no two of which may be the same. In the process, there may be repairs, parts coming from many different places, workers having unique skills, and there are constraints given the resources and equipment that are available every day. There's also testing. In a school, we start with a lot of different students, and over a span of 13 years of teaching them math, reading, social skills, civics, science, history, etc., we have teachers and administrators to guide the students and impart knowledge and wisdom. Periodic evaluations are done to determine if our students are meeting or exceeding or not meeting standards. Given the results, we may need to provide additional help or more challenging assignments. For those who fall behind, there may even be summer school. As students progress, they may take various academic options and choose to participate in extracurricular activities. The administration needs to make sure there are appropriate numbers of teachers with the right skills and support resources and equipment. While schools don't make a profit, they have to be managed with financial and physical constraints, just like an F-150 plant. I think we just heard about it. The plant has to be put out a quality product, as do the schools. The schools' products are the students that have the skills to go out in the real world for either a job or to further their education. All students need to successfully function in society and have high self-esteem. Both the factory and the school are very complex, and problems may not be easily fixed. Management needs data to manage through the problems and ability to apply extra resources as needed. Today we have major problems with literacy and significant gaps in math across our student body, which exacerbates learning. Dr. Delgado reviewed with us Saturday a number of things he and his team are doing to remediate the literacy problems, such as evaluation of individual students, high-dosage tutoring, hiring of tutors, putting in place a multi-tiered system of support, using adolescent accelerated reading initiative programs, teacher training, etc. The desire to have all students at grade 3 reading competency going forward, while at the same time remediating high school seniors before graduation and work the in-between grades. The goal in the near term is to create a stable environment by eliminating the gaps at all the middle schools. I hope I hit the summary right. The problems are complex, and we need to understand the root causes with data. The board, the administration, parents, and the public need to understand the details. The kinds of information we need to know are the magnitude of the problem by grade in school, the best approach to teaching reading, the teacher training required, the number of near-term tutors required, and a time-phased plan to accomplish this. Of course, this will cost money and additional resources. There's also a math problem. I'll be done in 2 seconds.
Sir, it's 3 minutes, please. Please respect that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bill Lubaway.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We anticipated that damn clock, pardon me. So I'm going to finish up Huge's paper, and it goes on. There is also a math problem. We also have to keep the schools running for students who are doing well. Dr. Delgado, we are glad you are moving forward on this challenging problem, but we need the detail, near term, And we need to celebrate the good news as you bring our students up to speed. Thank you, Eugene. And my comments are, in looking at the board goals, which haven't really been discussed, I thought a logical place for discussion of these is in the community dialogues. And you say, well, wait a minute, these are board goals, they're really school district goals, in part, and particularly like improving data literacy. The board may want to know more about it, but it's a very interesting discussion and important discussion for our community. And if we have some approaches and a lot of new programs that we're introducing in this coming year, we ought to be discussing that with the community, not lecturing, discussing it with them. And then so one of the topics would be, I'd suggest improved data literacy. The other topic would be monitor academic achievement. And similarly, I think that that's important for our community to understand how the board is using this data and to ensure that we're actually providing equitable programming. And it's going to be a moving target, and it's time for us to explain to them and have a discussion with them, just like you'd had at the retreat the other day. I found that very interesting, not long enough, and too many details and not enough Title I's, or too many Title I's and other references that I didn't understand, but I wrote them down. So with that, I'd like to suggest those three topics. You've already got safety on the community dialogues. I'd like to add into that, improve the data literacy and monitor academic achievement. Thank you.
Mr. Leboy, was there a third topic? Or just two? Oh, okay. Gotcha. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Leboy. Mr. David Villar?
Okay, so I want to thank you guys for having us speak. My son may want to speak and share about how his, well, he'll tell you. Meanwhile, before that, firstly, great job with the Saturday tutoring. I think it's really made a difference. And the only concern that I have is the school lunch quality. I think that if we're going to invest more into our kids' development, I think we should look at some healthier options. I'm not okay with it. So if you need some detail, I can provide some later, but that's my only concern right now. And as far as some of the other topics go, I really appreciate all that you guys are doing. I can't really recall each, program that's available and how it's doing, but when I review some of the stuff online, I look at some of the options, yes, including the YMCA options for the summer, and there's a swim program that's coming that I think is going to be really good. My son, he's a really good swimmer, and I just appreciate all you guys are doing. And you want to share?
I got 100% on my test.
What test?
A math test.
Oh, he's going to tell you what test it was. Oh.
A math test.
And we're pretty sure that the Saturdays were really contributing. So thank you.
Wonderful. Is there any other public comment? You have to grab this.
Oh, you gave it to me.
Oh.
Oh, no. That's his.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
That's his note to me.
It was a note.
He's gonna talk. He's gonna do it. That's just his note.
I didn't know if I had to leave because my daughter's at the dance.
Oh, I see.
I had to leave before.
Oh.
Give her note.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Hall.
Yes. My name is Thomas Hall from FAPN. Just want to just announce that we're not having any, well, this is our last week, our last Saturday tutoring for the rest of the 2022. We're going to begin January 15th at our new location because of the renovation of the Maxfield Center. So we're going to be at Farmington High School Media Center. They have a very large media center and also an adjusted room right off the media center, so we can have continue to have our like a classroom, quiet room, whiteboard, and also with the we may have additional classrooms if needed, in that facility. So I think that worked out real well for us as for a tutoring environment, just because we're not scrambling around, all that stuff. So and it's only like a half a block or so from here, so it's super convenient if you ever came here. So we don't have to go like on the other side of town or anything like that. So everybody's familiar with that, and just let everybody know, North Farmington is welcome too. So don't think because we're having at Farmington High School that North Farmington kids can do that. I just know that this is kind of like a neutral ground, Maxfield. So you can come over to from North to Farmington and get the tutoring that you need. I'm glad that we are having success from the testimonials. So so looking forward to everybody at the January 14th, 2023 at Farmington High School.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Hall. Any other public comment? Is there any other public comment? Seeing no other public comment is now closed. Moving on to action items. Yes, Ms. Weems.
Thank you. I move that the Board of Education authorize administration to accept the bids to specifications from Little Caesars Pizza from Farmington Hills, Michigan for an estimated total of $160,000 and Cottage Inn Pizza for an estimated total of $72,000. The Fresh Made Pizza bid number 1030 for the Nutrition Services Department. Funds to come from the Nutrition Services Fund.
Support.
Motion by Ms. Weems, supported by Mr. Walker. Mr. Rich, do we have to do a roll call on this? Money. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Rich?
Oh, discussion.
Oh, discussion, I'm sorry.
We have to do discussion. Yes.
I just wanted to make mention, we talked about this at the last meeting, so we're not just launching into an action item, I think pretty thoroughly. And I think the students are likely anticipating pizza now that Dr. Delgado has talked about it at cookies and conversation.
I can confirm that, yes, they are waiting.
If you don't pass this today, I will tell them that it was because of you.
I'm not going to say no. Okay, any other discussion? All right. Mr. Walker.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Heinrich?
Yes.
Ms. Weems?
Yes.
I myself am yes, and Dr. Blau.
Yes.
Unanimous.
All right, wonderful. Yay. Okay, next we have the new textbook adoptions approval.
Yes. I move that the Board of Education adopt the textbook recommendation for advanced placement, macroeconomics and microeconomics, and career and technical education, business law, as outlined it in the new textbook adoption presentation dated November 22, and 2022.
Support.
Motion by Ms. Fox, supported by Mr. Walker. Any discussion?
This was a discussion item at the last board meeting, and just to review that, there was a robust involvement by the staff involved in selecting these textbooks, and I'm excited for the things that we're teaching in our schools. I mean, I want to go back to school and take some of these classes, so thank you.
All right, any other discussion? Okay.
Roll call. Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Heinrich?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
I myself am yes. Dr. Blau?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Wonderful. Thank you. Next, we have the Superintendent's 2022-2023 final evaluation. Yes.
I move that the Board of Education approve the proposed superintendent's final evaluation for the 2022-2023 school year as presented.
Support.
Motion by Ms. Heinrich, supported by Mr. Walker. Do you need to share our results? Thank you, Mr. Rich.
Sure. So I'm going to walk us through the ratings that the board has come to a consensus on, just so everyone knows how the process goes. This is the superintendent evaluation tool presented by the Michigan Association of School Boards. All board members, as well as Dr. Delgado, have been trained in this tool extensively and have gone through the certification to use it. And you're not able to use this tool to evaluate a superintendent unless you have passed that training. So this is what we use to evaluate our superintendent. It has multiple different parts, which I will walk us through now, just so everyone is aware. The ratings aren't added up and tabulated based on each individual board member's belief on a certain section. This is presented, board members discuss, we reach a consensus on a rating, and then that is what is put. And then I'll break down how the weighting of the sections is done as we move forward in this presentation. The first part is governance and board relations. This is part A with regards to policy involvement. So this goes everywhere from ineffective is 1 point on the scale, minimally effective is 2 points, effective is 3 points, and highly effective is 4 points, with each rating having a very specific set of criteria that must be met in order to receive that rating. A1 is policy involvement. That was a rating of a 4. A2, goal development, rating of 4. A3, information, rating of 4. A4, materials and background, rating of 4. A5, board questions, rating of 4. And A6, board development, rating of 4 for a category rating of 4. Moving on to section B, community relations. B1 is parent feedback, rating of 4. B2, communication with community, 4. B3, community feedback, 4. B4, media relations, 4. B5, district image, 4. B6, approachability, 4. For a category rating of 4. Moving on to part C, staff relations. C1 is staff feedback, 4. Staff communications is a 4. C3 is personnel matters, 4. C4 is delegation of duties, 4. C5, recruitment is a 4. C6, labor relations and bargaining is a 4. For a category rating of 4. Moving on to part D, business and finance. D1, budget development and management, 4. D2, budget reports, 4. D3, financial controls, 4. D4, facility management, 4. D5, resource allocation, 4, for a category rating of 4. Going to E, instructional leadership. E1, performance evaluation system, 4. E2, building level leadership, 4. E3, staff development, 4. E5, curriculum, 4. E6, instruction, 3.5. E7, student feedback, 4. E8, student attendance, 4. E9, support for students is a 4. And E10, professional knowledge is a 4 for a category rating of 3.95. Now, this section is broken down with a weight of 20% given to governance and board relations, 15% to community relations, 15% to staff relations, 20% to business and finance, and 30% to instructional leadership. When that is all put together, that is a score of 3.985, and then adjusted for that score. Then comes the next section, which is student growth, which has an overall weight of 40%. And so that received a 3 rating, which is effective based on the district growth model. And with an overall weight of 10% is progress toward district-wide goals, which was a 4, highly effective. So the entire first part, A's A through E, is called the professional practice score, and so that is a total weight of 50% for that rating. 40%, as mentioned, is student growth, and then progress toward district-wide goals is 10%. Which leads us to a score of 89.8%. Now, going off of that evaluation, the board is using its discretion to round up the 89.8% to a 90% due to the inability to rank higher in other categories from the professional practice section. And so with the passage, with the assumed passage of this, Dr. Delgado would have a highly effective rating, reaching that 90% threshold.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rich. I would like to add that all of these ratings are based on artifacts that Dr. Delgado had to provide for us as evidence. That's why we were delayed in starting this meeting this evening, because of the thoroughness with which we discussed each and every category. So while it may sound like there was not deliberation, there was great deliberation as we discussed each category and considered the artifacts that Dr. Delgado had provided in doing this rating. So it was very carefully discussed and decided upon. Yes.
And further, comments were considered from the board and put into the evaluation, as well as analyze the comments from Dr. Delgado's own self-evaluation, because that is a mainstay in all evaluations for staff, and anywhere you are, you have that self-evaluation, your own comments, which we as a board need to discuss and evaluate and see how much weight those have on not only the ratings, but then, as we said, the ending of our board using the discretion for the rounding at the end.
Yes. In so many areas, Dr. Delgado does such an exceptional, extraordinary, above and beyond job in his role, in his many roles as our superintendent, but we're limited to 4 as the top score that we're allowed to give. And if we were allowed to give a 5, we are confident that we would have granted him a 5 in many of these areas. And so that is why we felt very comfortable using our discretion to call the 89.8 a solid, highly effective.
I apologize. Just one more thing that I want to add is this is not just a reflection on Dr. Delgado. A lot of this does come down to our teachers, Dr. Delgado's cabinet, everyone who is in our district. It would not be the same ratings without everyone's input, without all of their hard work and effort. And so while this is a specific rating and evaluation on Dr. Delgado, it is not just a reflection on him, but on our district as a whole and the direction that our district is heading.
Absolutely. Thank you for pointing that out, Mr. Rich. Yes, Ms. Heinrich.
I just want to say that, this is really a rigorous evaluation process, and just express appreciation to Dr. Delgado for his leadership. And as Mr. Rich pointed out, really all of our administrators, all our principals, all of our teachers, they're all subject to the same rigorous rubrics for the evaluation process. And so the goal is, it's self-reflection, it's a cycle. So once one cycle is done, there's notes being made for the next cycle. And so that's what we do as a district, and that's how we improve. And that's how at every level, everyone improves. And so it's open communication among all the levels, and everything is interconnected. And so, just appreciating the communications and the work that Dr. Delgado does with the board, as well as with his cabinet and with his principals and his teachers and his community members and his students. I mean, it's all reflected in the achievement and the work that we're doing. So thank you very much. And I'm very pleased and want to celebrate your success. So thank you for your hard work.
I agree with everything that's been said and won't repeat it. The one thing that I'll add is I've continued to be impressed by Dr. Delgado, his cabinet, and all of our staff, because it is very clear every time we have a conversation, especially this past weekend at our retreat, where we spent an entire day reviewing information. I know it was mentioned by a board member that we should have gone longer, but that was pretty long. I'm always impressed by the knowledge, the information, the constant improvement, the constant recognition of areas where we need to improve, the evaluation that you're constantly doing to identify what's working, what's not working, where we need to make course corrections, and actually following up with that. The feedback that you're collecting from our students, from our staff member, from our communities, and actually listening and incorporating that into plans going forward, all of that has just been stellar. So I am very pleased with the outcome and very much support a highly effective rating.
I believe we're ready for a vote.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Heinrich?
Yes.
Ms. Weems?
Yes.
I myself am yes. Dr. Blau?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Congratulations, Dr. Delgado.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to say it's an honor to work with all of you and to be part of this Farmington family. I can't thank the cabinet enough, as well as our leadership team and all of our staff. This is a wonderful place to be. It's a special place to be. And together we're trying to move it forward. And that means all of us, including you at this table, and especially the cabinet who is with me every single day. And I inherited a lot of great people, and we've hired a lot of great people, and we're really trying to move things in a wonderful direction. And it's a real team effort. So again, I'm humbled, appreciative, and honored to work here in Farmington.
We're lucky to have you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to items from the treasurer.
Sweems.
Yep. I move that the Board of Education approve the expenditures as outlined in the expenditure printout dated December 13th, 2022 as follows. From the general fund, $13,391,249. Athletics, $101,202. From the capital projects 2018 bond fund, $549,094. From the 2020 bond fund, $81,403. From the Nutrition Services Fund, $228,040, and from the Benefit Stabilization Fund,
$860 for a total of $15,153,848.
Support.
Motion by Ms. Weems, supported by Mr. Walker. Discussion? Right.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
Ms. Heinrich?
Yes.
Ms. Weems?
Yes.
I myself am yes. And Dr. Blau.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Wonderful. Okay, the consent agenda, yes.
I move that the Board of Education approve the December 13th, 2022 consent agenda as follows. It includes approval of minutes from the November 22nd, 22 regular meeting, the Head Start Director's monthly report, and several personnel items.
Support.
Motion by Ms. Weems, supported by Mr. Rich. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Do we have any reports this evening from board representatives? Yes, Ms. Heinrich.
Student Roundtable met Tuesday, December 6th. Ani reported at the meeting about their focus group project. I'm excited to hear that. The kids, I was going around eavesdropping on the groups, and they were talking about tapping into graduates and alumni from the school district also. And we actually had a conversation about including Diane Bauman and getting some alumni stuff going. But that's another thing. But Dr. Kelly Coffin came and talked to the students as far as profile of a lifelong learner. And I was really impressed because, you know, this profile of lifelong learner, it's not just a poster. It's something that we're actually living in the district. And she asked the students, where do you see yourself in the profile of a lifelong learner? And the kids really went around, and I was really impressed with the comments, the thought that they put into it, and their responses. And it's just really helpful to inform the staff in moving forward on areas of strengths and areas of needs for improvement. So I'm pretty impressed with this process. And Mr. Smith was also there, and because of the time constraints, he didn't really have a lot of time, but he assured them he's going to meet in all of the buildings with the students and make sure that he will bring his work to the building level for them. And that was pretty much it for the student roundtable.
Thank you. Any other board representative? Yes.
The Oakland County School Board Association met on December 6th. I did not attend the meeting, but they sent out the minutes. It was to welcome newly elected board members. And they just recognized that district, or across Oakland County, there's 47 trustees from 27 districts that will not be returning. So there's a lot of new board members across the district. And the next meeting, board members, is going to be January 18th, and it's a Zoom, it's a virtual meeting. So there'll be opportunities for participation for as many of our board members that would like to Zoom in. They usually have pretty good programs.
What was the date?
It's going to be Wednesday, January 18th. It's going to be a Zoom meeting. They'll send out information.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Heinrich. Very much for those reports. Any recommendations for future agenda items? Okay. I know that we have some student data reports that are coming up, so we'll look forward to those. Good and welfare. Crickets? Really?
Oh, I have some.
Yes, okay.
Okay. Yeah, I took my grandson to see Frozen Jr. Was that the Warner Middle School play at North Farmington? Oh, he absolutely loves the Warner Middle School plays. He's a kindergartner, so it was great, and really loved it. Really, high quality production also. And my daughter made the comment. She said, "Boy, Mom, when I was in middle school, we didn't do plays like this." So we're doing something great across the district. So really impressed there. Goodfellows, Delivery Day is Saturday, this Saturday coming up, the 17th. And if you've ever wanted to be a reindeer, reindeer are delivery drivers, and all you have to do is show up at 9 a.m. and get in line. It's over on Interchange Drive, and the Farmington hockey team boys help in loading up the cars, and you'll be given a slip of a delivery instructions where you go and you deliver the things, and then you have to come back and turn it in. And so we service, I think, almost 100 families and 80 seniors, and so there's a lot of items that need to be delivered, so the community is always welcome. And our NHS students and Student Roundtable are going to be there, along with Diane Bowman, and you're invited to write thank you notes to the community.
Well, we don't have Super Saturday tutoring this Saturday, so.
I got my Goodfellows sweatshirt on. We have red sweatshirts, so, yes.
So, okay, now I know where I'll be on Saturday morning. I'll be a reindeer.
Yes,
Cool.
I know. You don't even have to wear your antlers.
Awesome. Yes, Ms. Weeds.
I had the opportunity to attend the North Farmington football banquet, which was really well done, very nice. And what I was most impressed by were the athletes and their academics. There was a lot of focus placed on academics, and we have a lot of really great football players who have great records, and I was pretty impressed by that. And I know that a lot of the coaches put in a lot of time with their students, and so I wanted to express appreciation for that and just offer happy holidays to everyone and a really, really good break. I think we all deserve it.
All right. With that, happy holidays, healthy new year, and we will see you all in January. Our meeting is adjourned.